Good afternoon. Almost 9 to 10 minutes are over. We shall begin with today's aspect of the topic, that is chemistry of D block elements. With regard to this topic, we have already completed the series named as the D block elements from atom number 21 to 30, that is from scandium to zinc. We have finished the electronic configuration of all these elements, wherein we have studied that the incoming electron or the newly added electron now enters into 3D orbital, and hence the series is commonly referred as the 3D series of elements. We have come to conclusion here that at chromium, atom number 24, and at copper, atom number 29, the continuous build-up of electronic configuration was somewhat disrupted in order to offer extra stability associated with completely half-filled and completely filled electronic subshells. And here we have arrived at a D5 configuration for chromium and D10 configuration for copper, which offer extra stability associated with half-filled and completely filled electron subshell. After completion of this electronic configuration, we have moved to the variable oxidation states of all these elements, wherein we have derived around 40 oxidation states for all these elements. And here we have shown that these elements, they show variable oxidation states. That means more than 2 or 3 oxidation states which are shown by these elements. The maximum oxidation state that is shown by the element, that is a central place element, that is a manganese. So manganese shows the oxidation states ranging from +2 to +7. We have also concluded while studying the oxidation states that the minimum oxidation state corresponds to total number of electrons in 4s orbital. For this reason, we have shown +2 oxidation state for all these elements except chromium and copper. If you refer your notebook, then you will also come to know about this fact. Chromium and copper, they contain 4s1 3d5 and 4s1 3d10 configurations on account of a single electron in 4s orbital. These elements do display +1 as a minimum oxidation state. These elements, they also display a maximum oxidation state. To calculate the maximum oxidation state, we have applied a simple formula that to calculate the maximum oxidation state, one should consider the 4s electrons, number of electrons in 4s orbital plus number of unpaired electrons from 3d orbital. So on account of this, if we add up the total number of electrons in 4s and total number of unpaired electrons in 3d, we arrive at the maximum oxidation states shown by these elements. So this is all about the minimum and maximum oxidation states. We have also derived that the stability of these unusual oxidation states, that wholly depends upon acquiring F7 and F14 configurations. And we have also marked out with an asterisk sign that these elements, that those elements which show by loss of electrons, which show either of these extra stable electronic configurations, either F0, F7 or F14 configuration, they offer extra stability with the corresponding ion. So we have seen these oxidation states also, and at last we have seen the various oxidation states which are shown by these elements. Only point to note here that zinc shows only +2 oxidation state. That means the 2 electrons which are present for zinc, 4s2 and 3d10. The 4s electrons are only contributed by zinc during the bond formation. No electrons are contributed by zinc from 3d10 because which is a extra stable electron subshell. From this extra stable electron subshell, if we want to remove an electron, lot of energy is required. That means ionization enthalpy or ionization energy is very high, which is not possible, and hence zinc displays only +2 oxidation state. After oxidation states, we have seen the magnetic properties of these elements, wherein we have studied that most of the elements, they are showing the paramagnetic behavior because they contain either 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 unpaired electrons, and they show the paramagnetic behavior also. So in this case, the elements which contain unpaired electrons, only those elements are paramagnetic in nature, rest all other elements are diamagnetic. Here, if we consider the example of copper plus 1, by the loss of single electron from 4s orbital, if you refer your notebook, then only 3d 10 electrons are left. So no unpaired electrons are there in copper plus 1, hence copper plus 1 is a diamagnetic. But if copper shows plus oxidation state, then one of the electron from the D10 configuration is also removed. So one electron from 4s and one electron from 3d, if are removed, then D9 configuration is observed. So if D9 configuration is shown by copper, that means it contains only one unpaired electron, hence copper plus 2 is paramagnetic, but copper plus 1 is a diamagnetic. In this case, Mn plus 2 shows highly paramagnetic behavior because it contains 5 unpaired electrons. So because Mn plus 2 shows 5 unpaired electrons, hence it is a highly paramagnetic. By the loss of 2 electrons from 4s, it shows a D5 configuration. And at last, we have shown with the help of a graphical representation where we have calculated the magnetic moment of all these elements by using spin only formula, that is a mu s is equal to square root of n into bracket n plus 2. By putting the value of number of unpaired electrons, that is small n, we can arrive at the magnetic moment in terms of Bohr magnetons. So Bohr magneton is a unit that is used to measure the magnetic moments for all these elements. So we have correlated the magnetic moments in Bohr magnetons against the d orbital configuration from d0 to d10 against the number of unpaired electrons. And by using this graph, we have shown that if we know either of these parameters, then we can show the remaining 2 parameters. That means if we know the d orbital configuration, we can easily arrive at the magnetic moment as well as the unpaired electrons. Or the reverse is also true. If we know the unpaired electrons, one can easily arrive at the d orbital configuration and the magnetic moments in Bohr magnetons. So all these facts we have already studied. Because there is a gap of 2 to 3 days, and hence I have revised for the purpose of better understanding. Now, today we are going to move to the next aspect of this topic, that is a colored ion, which is very interesting to study, provided you listen very carefully and attentively. If possible, you can also draw the diagram side by side. That will enable you for better understanding, because those points that I am going to cover today, those 2 points are rather difficult to understand. So it is better if you refer your notebook and if you try to draw the diagrams, those diagrams which are drawing I am right now. Now, with regard to colored ions, it is said that most of the elements from 3D block elements are colored except that of scandium and zinc. These are colorless. Rest all other elements, they are colored. The reason for this is that to have a color, the d orbital of these elements must contain at least one unpaired electron. This should be borne in mind, that to have a color, one should have, that is, the element should have at least one unpaired d electron. Then and then color is observed. That means if d orbital is empty or if d orbital is completely filled, that means d0 or d10 configuration, then and then such atoms or ions are colorless. There is also one parameter that is applied. The color is not due to presence of unpaired electrons. Sometimes the color may be due to presence of defects in solid crystal structure. Also, the color may be due to sometimes the charge transfer, that is a more or less complete transfer. transfer of a charge, that is electron from one atom to another atom, then and then the color is also observed. Now, I have just told you that the d orbital must contain at least one unpaired electron. Now, how the color is attributed even though only one unpaired electron is there? Just see here. I am showing you by drawing the diagram. You can also draw this diagram in your notebook that will enable you during your exam time. So, first of all, the colored ions. We have seen majority of the elements of these d block elements are colored. What is the reason? Because of if these d orbitals they contain at least one unpaired electron, then the atom or ion appears to be colored. That means we have seen if d orbital is empty or if d orbital is completely filled. Completely filled means no unpaired electrons are there, and here no electrons are there. Under such circumstances, the corresponding atom or ion is colorless. Thirdly, we have seen the color is also due to certain defects in solid crystal structure. And fourth, the color is also due to the transfer of charge, what we call as the charge transfer from one atom to another atom. How can we this show? First of all, we shall see the color is due to presence of unpaired electron. Consider for this one best known example of one coordination complex, that is TiSO6 3+. You need not bother about what is this complex, because I am going to teach you how this complex is produced in case of the coordination chemistry topic, wherein I am going to in more details of these complexes. But just for the instance, we have to consider this complex. This complex is known as hexa-aquo titanium plus 3 ion. That means the hydrated solution. Sometimes the question may be twisted that the hydrated solution of titanium is purple colored or it is purple colored. Why? What is the reason that the hydrated solution of titanium is purple color? Why? Now, to show this, why this solution is purple color, first of all, we shall study the electronic configuration of titanium. Titanium having atom number 22. In terms of argon core, we can write the electronic configuration. 18 plus 2 is 20 plus 2 is 22, which is the electronic configuration of titanium. But in this case, titanium is having a plus 3 configuration. This is nothing but the titanium atom which does not carry any charge, and this is known as the titanium ion which carries 3 positive charges. Now, to arrive at the plus 3 configuration of titanium plus 3 ion, titanium must lose these 2 electrons from 4s and one of the electron from 3d. Now, the configuration becomes, in terms of argon core, it is 3d1 and 4s0. This is electronic configuration of ion. Perhaps you might be understanding how we have arrived at 3d configuration, 3d1 configuration, loss of 2 electrons and loss of one of the electron to show plus 3 oxidation state. Now, as we know, d orbitals are 5 in number. Say, for example, in simpler terms, I shall draw one diagram. This is increasing energy. Energy increases from bottom to top. Here, dxy, dyz, dxz, dx square minus y square, and dz square. These are the 5 degenerate d orbitals of 3d orbitals of titanium atom containing only one electron. How this is? Because the 3d orbital of titanium contains only one electron. Now, when these 6 water molecules are coming closer to the d orbitals of this titanium, like this, for example, this is an octahedral complex Ti plus 3. at the center, and here it is surrounded by these 6 water molecules in an octahedral fashion like this. These are the 6 water molecules. This is Ti2O6 3 plus. So when these water molecules they come closer to the d orbitals of titanium, then these 3d orbitals of titanium are somewhat lifted upside. That means the energy of 5 3d orbitals is somewhat uplifted. So this is uplifted 3d orbitals of titanium plus 3 ion, which contain 1 electron, that is 3d 1 electron. Now, to form such complex, this complex is known as the octahedral complex. This is known as the octahedral complex because it is having a octahedral geometry. Now, when these 6 water molecules approach the 3d orbitals of titanium, these 5 3d orbitals of titanium are now split up into 2 sets. One set containing 3 orbitals. These are 3d orbitals, and one set containing 2 orbitals. This is also 3d orbitals. So these 5 orbitals now split up into 2 sets. One set containing 3 orbitals, another set containing 2 orbitals, and this is average or mean energy. For this reason, I have shown this increasing energy. A set containing 3 orbitals is commonly known as a T2G group of orbitals, and the set containing 2 orbitals is known as the EG group of orbitals. Now, according to above principle, this electron now accommodated in low energy T2G group of orbitals. This electron absorbs the energy from visible light radiation, that is ranges from 400 to 700 nanometers. So this electron absorbs certain energy from this light radiation, and the resultant picture I would like to show you here. These are the EG group of orbitals and these are the T2G group of orbitals. So the electron that is present in low energy T2G group of orbitals, which is basically 3D orbital, this electron jumps by taking the energy, or this electron is promoted from low energy to high energy, but in the same 3D orbital. So the jumping or the promotion of one electron from 3D orbital to the 3D orbital of the same subshell. So this electron jumps within the energy level. This jumping or promotion of electron is known as the DD transition of electron. So because of jumping of this electron, the hydrated solution of titanium appears to be colored. So this is how one can explain how the hydrated solution of titanium is purple in color. This is because the 3D orbital of titanium containing single electron, when the 6 water molecules come around the 3D orbitals of titanium, these 3D orbitals are somewhat uplifted. That means the energy content is increased, and when to form a octahedral complex, the 3D orbitals of titanium are now split up into 2 sets. One set is having 3 orbitals, another set is having 2 orbitals. The single electron that is present now absorbs the energy from visible light radiation, which ranges from 400 to 700 nanometers, and for jumping of this electron, very less amount of energy, and it is received from this region, and this electron easily jumps within the energy level. So the jumping of this electron from one d level to another d level, but in the same electron subshell, is known as a DD transition of electrons. So here one can write that the color is also due to the DD transition of electrons. So the single electron that is present in the 3D orbital that is promoted or transmitted from one d level to another d level, but in the same electron subshell, is known as a DD transition of electrons. Now, here we have written that D0 or D10 configurations are colorless. For example, come to the example of scandium plus 3. If a question of the type, if it is asked, amongst the following ions, which is colorless? For example, scandium plus 3. We know scandium plus 3, scandium atom number 21. Its d orbital configuration in terms of argon core 4s2 3d1. Now to show plus 3 oxidation state of scandium, it must lose 2 electrons from 4s and 1 electron from 3d. So the configuration becomes a d0. So whenever we observe a d0 configuration, it is colorless. So no unpaired electrons are present in scandium plus 3. It is colorless. Another example I would like to give here, the zinc. As we know, zinc is the last member of this 3D series, having the configuration as a 4s2 and 3d10. If at all zinc has to show plus 2 configuration, this we have seen while studying the oxidation states. Zinc must lose these 2 electrons. After loss of these 2 electrons, the configuration becomes a 3d10. So d10 configuration means the situation is like this. This is a d10. One cannot find here any unpaired electrons. So no unpaired electrons or absence of unpaired electrons. So d10 configuration colorless. So Zn plus 2 is a colorless. Another example, copper plus 1. Copper, as we know, atom number 29. The d orbital configuration can be written as 4s1 3d10. To arrive at plus 1 oxidation state, copper must lose electrons from 4s. So it becomes 3d10. So again 3d10, d10 configuration means again colorless due to absence of unpaired electrons. So whenever the d orbital is empty, or if the d orbital is completely filled with 10 electrons, or whenever there is a double occupancy of electrons, then and then the corresponding atom or ion is colorless. Now, the third parameter, that the color is also due to some defects in solid crystal structure. The best known example I would like to give you here, the color may be due to defects in solid crystal structure. The best known example is vanadium pentoxide. Now, for arriving the oxidation state of vanadium in vanadium pentoxide, we have to see the electronic configuration of vanadium, atom number 23. In terms of argon core, we can write this is 4s2 3d3. Sorry. Here, what is the oxidation state of vanadium here? As we know, oxygen is always having -2 oxidation state in all of its stable compounds. So for each oxygen, it is a -2. As there are 5 oxygen atoms are there, so 5 multiplied by -2 is -10. So to arrive at 0 charge or 0 oxidation state on V2O5, here V2 must be in +10 oxidation state. So +10 -10 0. But +10 is for 2 vanadium atoms. For single vanadium atom, it is half of this step. That means V5. So V5 means if at all vanadium has to show +5 oxidation state, it should lose 2 electrons from 4s and 3 electrons from 3d. So total loss of 5 electrons, which leads to 3d0 configuration. If 3d0 configuration is there, according to our rule, it should be colorless. But this vanadium pentoxide is extremely ruby red in color. The reason for this is that if we look at the structure of vanadium, then it is observed that some of the lattice sites, for example, here or this, some of the lattice points are having the ion vacancies like this. So perhaps you might have studied the NaCl crystal structure during your BSc 1 level. So here, according to the sequence, after vanadium, oxygen is there, vanadium, oxygen, oxygen, vanadium, oxygen. Here there should be vanadium atom must be present, but this vanadium is absent from its lattice site. Or sometimes, if we consider this continuous array of vanadium, oxygen, vanadium, here there should be oxygen atom which is also absent. So because the ions are absent from the lattice site, which creates certain defects, and because of presence of defects, now even though vanadium in vanadium pentoxide is having the zero configuration, it is ruby red in color due to presence of defects in solid crystal structure. And again, the next aspect that we are going to study, the color may be due to charge transfer or transfer of charge. How it is? Let us take an example of potassium permanganate. As we know, potassium permanganate that we are using in our laboratory, it is intensely violet purple in color. But here, according to our rule, potassium permanganate should be colorless. How is it? Say for example, as we know, 4 oxygen atoms are there. For every oxygen, it is -2. So -2 multiplied by 4, it is a -8. To arrive at a zero oxidation state or zero charge on this complex, now potassium is an alkali metal. The atom that is present in the element that is present in a particular group, the group valence is attributed. So potassium being present in first A group, so the group valence is +1. Now we have to arrive zero oxidation state on KMnO4. So to arrive at a zero oxidation state, manganese must be in +7 oxidation state. So this is a +8, -8, 0. That means in potassium permanganate, manganese is in +7 oxidation state. Now, the electronic configuration of manganese is 25. The atom number is 25. In terms of argon core, we can write this as like this: 4s2 3d5. To arrive at a +7 oxidation state, manganese must lose 2 electrons from 4s and 5 electrons from 3d, which gives the 3d zero configuration. Now, if at all 3d zero configuration is there, according to our rule, the solution of potassium permanganate must be colorless because of D0 configuration, that is loss of all the electron from 3d and 4s. Now, why it is purple violet in color? Here, if we consider this Mn+7, which is having 3d zero configuration, here oxygen acts as a electron rich species or negatively charged species, which this is oxygen, which gives its one electron to manganese. So here this oxygen in modern terminology is referred as a ligand. This will explain while studying the coordination chemistry topic. And manganese is a metal. So when there is a transfer of charge from ligand to metal, that is from oxygen to manganese, the charge is a transferred. That means one electron is a transferred from oxygen to manganese, and now it becomes a D1. D1 means manganese now contains one electron, and hence it is purple violet in color due to transfer of charge from oxygen to manganese. So oxygen is an electron rich, which donates its a single electron for a while, and manganese, the solution of potassium permanganate appears to be intensely purple violet color. So, the colored ions, what aspects that we have studied here? The first aspect that we have studied is to have a color. the d orbital must contain at least one unpaired electron, that we have studied while studying the complex of titanium with water, TiH263 plus the hydrated solution of titanium appears to be colored because of DD transition. This we have studied by promotion of one electron from one d level to another d level. Secondly, we have studied if the d orbitals are empty, that is a d0, or if d orbitals are completely filled, double occupancy of electron, d10 configurations, these configurations are colorless because of absence of unpaired electrons in 3d orbital. Thirdly, we have studied the color may be due to the defects in solid crystal structure. The best known example that just now we have studied is a vanadium pentoxide example, wherein vanadium is having +5 oxidation state. To arrive at +5 oxidation state, vanadium loses its 3 electrons from 3d and 2 electrons from 4s. Because of d0 configuration is there, so the crystal structure of vanadium pentoxide shows that there are certain ion vacancies are there due to the absence of either vanadium or oxygen in the lattice points, which creates certain defects in solid crystal structure. On account of this, the vanadium pentoxide appears to be a ruby red in color. Lastly, we have studied that the potassium permanganate solution that we are using in laboratory is almost purple violet in color. But if we apply our theory of colored ions, then manganese is having +7 oxidation state in potassium permanganate. To arrive at +7 oxidation state of manganese in this particular potassium permanganate solution, manganese has to lose 2 electrons from 4s and 5 electrons from 3d, which shows d0 configuration. If at all it is a d0 configuration, then potassium permanganate solution should be colorless on account of d0 configuration. But just now we have studied that oxygen donates its electron to manganese. After donation of an electron from oxygen to manganese, because oxygen is electron rich, which donates its electron, and on account of donation of this electron, what we call as a transfer of charge. Charge is transferred from oxygen to manganese, and hence color is observed. So due to transfer of charge from oxygen to manganese, we observe the violet color of potassium permanganate solution. So here we have completed the first part, and we are going to study